Good morning, everyone. Good morning from beautiful Vienna. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. My name is Andra. I'm your host. And today is a very, very special morning. As I said to Andra in our introduction small talk, it's the 50th episode of Making It in Austria. So I'm really, really, grateful for each and every guest that we had on this show. And I'm really looking forward to hear your story, Andra. So Andra, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for choosing to spend a couple of minutes with us and with our viewers and share your story of making it in Austria. So let's start with a quick or length introduction of who's Andra. So what message would you like to share with our listeners and viewers?
Um, I'm Andra. I'm from Romania originally. I love storytelling, and uh, I'm as much in love with ice cream as with storytelling, chocolate ice cream especially. I moved to Austria in 2004 without knowing German, and I've been living here ever since. And now recently I received the Austrian citizenship, which was a very interesting process to go through.
I can imagine. So we are also planning to enter that process ourselves, and we have heard many, many, many different stories. So let's create our stories as well. So Andra, tell us a little bit of what you do. So you're the founder and the CEO of Younited Cultures, but you have a vast background,
Mhm.
professional background. So tell us a little bit to our viewers what's all about.
So, do you want me to start with United Cultures first?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. With me and Julia, co-founded United Cultures in 2014. Um, Basically, the idea came up throughout the experiences that we've had and we've collected since moving to Austria. I had a different journey. She's also Romanian. She had a different journey, and but we always heard about the same stories: discrimination. I can't find a job. What to do? Uh, um, the negative perception of migrants in Austria in general. The word migrant being very negatively associated with
Mm.
criminals and such. And so that was kind of the start of this social business idea to promote the positive image of migrants in Austria that is not very well seen. There is no advertising, so to say, no branding around this word. So we said, okay, we know a lot of people who have made it in Austria. We know very good examples and positive examples of people who come from different cultural backgrounds and have accomplished their dreams and are still okay with challenges, but continue on this path. And we wanted to inspire others and also show to society who we really are, who the Romanians are, who the Polish are, Turkish, whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
And so that's how United Cultures came into being with the idea of putting their stories not in the form of a magazine or a YouTube channel like you do, but for us it was more the design part, the
Mhm.
wearing the story outside into the world and making it visible to others, also by wearing something, a product used as an instrument to create a symbol of celebrating cultural diversity.
Mhm.
So that's what we did. We started with the scarves and with this very colorful pattern that we said, okay, should speak for all our stories, for those stories who have not been heard
Mhm.
or seen. And then when you wear this colorful scarf with different yeah, from yellow tones to red and blue and such, signifying each individual color, unique culture. And when we all come together, it's a celebration because the scarf is really very visible and very funky. and so it attracts conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we went on to individualizing stories on scarves. So based on their stories, we would design their own path on a scarf. They could choose the colors, they could choose to also draw with us and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also diversified to socks, which we kind of prefer now to do because it's more accessible. You can penetrate the market much more easily. And the colorful socks are very
Yeah.
attractive, and they spark conversation. Why are these socks so colorful? What's the message? Because on the socks it's written "Celebrate Migration,"
Yeah.
and each socks have different messages. So it's a very good starting point for dialogue. And yeah, so that's what we did, and we've been doing that ever since. I mean, with highs and lows, depending on our private lives as well. Um, and we did in parallel also different other jobs. Like with United Cultures, we weren't paying ourselves salary,
Mm.
and still aren't. And yeah, but that's another story about funding and the funding journey of startups.
So what is in your focus now, Andra? For instance, what is with United Cultures at the moment, or
Mhm.
next year as well? Mm-hmm.
Well, at the moment, the company is on hold because both me and Julia are on maternity leave now. So because of that, we are apparently not allowed to run the company.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just have a website and a web shop that goes through a different partner.
Mm-hmm.
And for now, it's on hold. But once we are back in business, so to say, we want to get a microcredit again and then start up with more designs, more stories, and relaunch in Vienna and in Austria, penetrating more shops now. Due to COVID, we couldn't do that much because, yeah, the shops closed and everything was online. And then also open the French market because my life partner is French, and he's very well connected there. And so it's a good market to start for socks, especially. So I said, why not? So we're going to try to open there also a market for cultural diversity products. Because yeah, discrimination is everywhere. So our product works in every
Yeah.
in every market, luckily or unluckily,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you said you're in the blessed state at the moment. So in 3 to 6 months, so then we can expect that there will be lots of more from you coming. Andra, you mentioned that you started so 2014. That was just a year when we came to Austria. So my husband and I, when we moved from Bosnia to Austria, and you started United Cultures 2014, but 2004 you moved to Vienna, right? So what happened in those 10 years of your life?
Oof, well, let's say I didn't choose Vienna. Vienna chose me. I met my former husband in Romania. And after finishing university, then and doing a long distance relationship, I moved here in the hope to get a student visa to continue furthering my studies. I studied the English and French translations and being a simultaneous translator and such. That proved to be a bit more bureaucratic than I thought. And it was not possible to do a master's degree here in English and French. German had to be one of the languages. So because they didn't have that, I didn't get a visa. So I went back to Romania and I said, okay, I need to start my life and I need to start earning money, and I can't just live between two countries with no specific future. And then my partner then kind of woke up and said, I want to marry you because I want to be able to have a relationship with you. So if the Austrian state tells me you can't live here because you're not in the EU, I want to marry you. And I said, well, okay, you're finally asking to marry me for the right reason, because before everybody was saying just get married and that's done with it and you're fine. I said, no, thank you. I don't need to marry someone to have a good future. So I don't want to marry for that reason. But then, he finally realized that it was more than that, and I wanted him to ask me for the right reason. I mean, we were in love and we loved each other, of course, but if it comes from a different perspective, it's a different story. So I moved here and we got married, and I started learning German. And I started from scratch, I guess, doing small jobs like student jobs, even catering, where jobs where I didn't need to use the language so much. So I did catering and different other small jobs, and then I did get a job in a hotel where I could use English mainly. And after that, I went into working in a shop on Maria Hilferstrasse, because I said, okay, I've learned German, but I need to practice it now. So I need to talk to people more. So that was more mainly the reason why I did take this job, which was obviously I was overqualified for it, but it was the only way to earn some money. I did not have a network, and I did not know how to make a network back then. And I think in 2004, the environment was also different concerning networking. And so I did that for a year, and after that, my German was quite well, I got a job in a cosmetics company with an Austrian family business, where I did the export part, where I started working in sales and project management, product development. I traveled the world with my boss. It was an exciting time. I did that for 6 years. But apart from the career, there was also a lot of friction between the employees regarding my background, the fact that I was Romanian and I was an Ausländer. It was hard for them to accept me. So I tried to make them understand that I'm a person and there's a story behind this face, and we should maybe talk more about that. And so I tried to create relationships. I brought them coffees, I just so that they are a bit nicer to me. It didn't work. I mean, obviously, they were very much working locally in Austria. They did not travel that much. It was a different education background. So I started to understand that as much as I tried to make them like me or see who I am, they just refused to accept. So after that, I said, okay, either I live with it or I quit. And so my boss told me, don't quit, just do your job, and then they will either fall behind or live with it as well. So that's what I did. And after 6 years I left, and then I said I wanted to do something else, and this is how I learned about networking, because also coming from this cosmetics world, which is not very sustainable, not very green, and so on. I got very much demotivated by it, and so I was trying to reorient myself to find something where I could do something good with what I actually work, and and I always wanted to help people. It's like something innate. I need to do that in order to make my life meaningful. And so I tried to look for different jobs, but at that time I was 32 and married, and I did not have a child, and I was from Romania. And then I started realizing that there's something going on here, uh, because I had a good background and work experience. And um, I searched for jobs for 8 months. And while doing that, my brother invited me to this network called the Impact Hub Vienna. And that's where I learned about entrepreneurship, first of all, um, and learning about actually doing your own job, creating your own job. And before, I didn't even know, it didn't even cross my mind, because I was in my own bubble,
Yeah.
in cosmetics world, the luxury, uh, beauty world, and I was networking only within that part of the market, the sector. So I said, okay, this sounds interesting. Uh, but I don't see myself doing something by myself. I have no idea what to do. And the the Impact Hub had also just started. Yeah, the social business idea was just a very small niche at that time. Nobody had heard what social
Yeah.
business, what social entrepreneurship, and so while they were also building up this sector, I was part of this journey, right? And I was participating in a lot of workshops where they give you the know-how. Yeah, all you needed to do was be a member, and you were getting free access to all this knowledge, all these amazing resources, and opportunities to grow, to develop yourself, opportunities to pitch your idea, to speak in public. I mean, I hated speaking in public. I didn't even speak at my wedding. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't like that. But once you start doing something, and then you kind of have to do it, if there's nobody else to do the job for you, you just jump in cold water and do it. And then you realize, oh my God, that was so nice. I mean, even if it was uh, a roller coaster with being scared and all of that, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you get around people and public speaking and pitching your idea that you believe in. So that's kind of where I grew a lot personally. I found out my qualities, my talents that I never knew I had in the previous job. I did what the boss said, right? So uh, I was doing that part. I was good at it, but I was not developing myself on different other levels. So through this network, I learned how to pitch. I learned how to inspire. I learned how to do PR. I learned how to talk to journalists, how to find journalists. I did a lot of activities, event development, and all of these things, that workshops. So you get to do very many different activities from different departments that usually in a conventional job you wouldn't get the opportunity
Yes.
to do. So I loved it, and that's when we founded then United Cultures. And luckily, I mean, my partner back then, a different partner, he was supporting me to do all of this, because it's not easy to take this
Yeah.
to be self-employed, to be to not have the safety of financial monthly payments and all of that. But yeah, luckily I could do this, and it was a very amazing journey. And after that, it was hard to go back into a conventional work environment. I didn't see myself working for someone anymore. It's really hard to go back into the into being an employee, which I did in 2017 because I got divorced, and I was yeah, I had to pause a bit and step back and calm down and find again my independence and find myself. So yeah, I started my life from scratch again, getting a flat, getting a job, and looking after myself, so to say, which was also a very big learning curve. And so I found a job actually that was literally something that could combine my entrepreneurial journey with helping people through a foundation. So I started working for Hill Foundation, where yeah, we were combining also social business with our um, so the activities and the strategies that were developed with the projects that we were helping through the foundation also had entrepreneurial ideas. And I mean, NGOs can also make uh, uh, money by offering certain services and so on. So that's where I had the time also for me personally to grow into this, and then to have a mental health balance, so to say, because foundations are also more employee oriented as well. So I was very fortunate to find that job, which I found through the network that I had built over all these years in the entrepreneurial journey. So basically, what I did, or how I found this job, was thanks to the fact that we were doing a lot of networking the around United Cultures, around the idea of diversity and migration, and we got to know a lot of people from different sectors and politicians and you name it, corporates and so on. And it was much easier to find a job because I had already shown what I could do. People were speaking for me, so to say. And basically, I didn't even know that this job was out there. And I just told in the network, I'm looking for a job part time. If you know of something that gives me the freedom also to bring in my own ideas and also continue my development and do good, that would be great. And then I received from the Impact Hub an email. This job is out there. Check it out. And then I applied, and yeah, 2 weeks later, I think, or 3 weeks later, after 2 interviews, I got the job.
Wow.
So it helped a lot. I don't think that. I mean, I'm not sure if it had to be necessarily the entrepreneurial journey, but if I hadn't done all this networking around the subjects that were important to me, I wouldn't have found this job. Or yeah, and like in any country, recommendations are always highly viewed in a recruiting process, because also for companies who look for someone appropriate for the job, it's very hard to find someone. So if they get a recommendation, they are obviously also very interested in getting to know this person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I did a lot of branding around me, so to say, while I was building United Cultures with Julia.
Mm. I love what you said with this people speaking for you. That's really powerful message, and what you did throughout your journey. That people, and the recommendation you said. I know many of my friends. They've been looking for jobs for a long, long time with great qualification, also doing education here in Austria. And it was very long, lengthy process. And what helped in at the end of the day was someone putting their CV in that company forward, and that
Yeah.
was it. Nothing more, nothing less. The same CV, the same motivation letter helped her to land a job pretty quickly. So I definitely can encourage that, to build your network. And you said yourself, it takes really long time, so it's not something that you can do just when you land here. It's a lengthy process as well. It's hours and days and weekends. I'm also saying from my experience too, that you have to invest in yourself, around yourself, and put your face forward.
Yeah.
So thank you, Andra, for sharing and taking this time with us. Before we wrap up, can you give a couple of ideas to people who are considering now to move to Austria? So is there any way that they could prepare for this journey, so that to help them make a smooth transition if possible?
um, I mean, it's different now than in 2004.
Absolutely.
Vienna is now much more international, and there are a lot of offers and websites with services offered for newcomers in English language, right? So even if you don't speak German, um, so it's much more accessible to enter the market. Um, the best option would be to come with a job, but if you just decide to move here, then make sure you have a financial standing a bit, to not
Mm,
stress about it, and then go networking. Look for events in your specific field of expertise, and start networking, because that's what helps.
mm,
And networking doesn't mean going to one event a month. It means going like to many events, and always when there are questions from the public, to always raise your hand and ask a question, no matter what it is. Well, it should be something relevant,
yeah.
but people notice you when you do that. So and that's when others come to you and ask you, oh yeah, I'm also with you on this idea, I understand it, and then you exchange business cards or whatever. So that's how you get around to know people. Join professional networks, all of these things. And of course, it's important also to find Austrian groups.
Mm,
I know it's much harder to go into a Viennese group, because well, yeah, they don't actively look for the internationals. You kind of have to go to them. They accept you. It's not that they say no, but it's much easier if you find an Austrian friend with
yeah.
whom you uh, go around and develop also into the this kind of society. Like, don't be in your own bubble.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that point with raising the hand and being proactive and active at the events. It really helps. Um, thank you, Andra, for sharing your insight. And I really enjoyed and then listening your story. And I hear lots of strengths and lots of really resilience and self leadership. And you, as you said, worked on yourself for a very long time, and that we can see and hear. Before we wrap up, I wish you all the best with the new journey. So entering the motherhood
Yeah.
coming
Another
up.
business idea.
Yes,
New
it will be a, yeah,
baby.
new baby, but the real one that you can touch and
Yeah.
hold. Can you tell us what you're reading? So, is there anything that you would like to recommend, a book or a podcast or interview?
All I'm reading right now is baby books. So I wouldn't know what to recommend there because you have to make your own choices. Um, and other than that, yeah, podcast wise, I don't remember the name because I'm not as active right now due to hormones. But yeah, as I said, just find your networks and read what is important to you. Read about the Austrian system.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. There's lots to read over there. So thank you, Andra, so much for being our 50th guest and joining us in your blessed state. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in the coming months when you feel about it. And I will link your contact details and your website, or the LinkedIn and your website to our YouTube channel so that people can get in touch with you if they have some ideas or just want to exchange as well. And thank you all for watching and for tuning in. And thank you for liking, subscribing, recommending new people for our interviews. We have 50 more to go. So please let me know if you know someone who would be a great candidate and made a great career here and has a story to tell. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andra.